Okay, what we're demonstrating here is multi-mode for invoice printing. We found the most common scenario for customers for sourcing data out of QuickBooks to send to labels is from invoice data. This is for AccuWare's QuickBooks Label Connector product, which is a middleware product that allows you to rapidly pull data out of QuickBooks documents and send it to bartender labels. So what I've got here is a particular invoice that we'll be working with today. Invoice number is 71140. As you can see, it's loaded with lots of items here, so it's got some good data for us to work with. In this case, we'll be sending data to a label file to print labels. So let's go ahead and just put in invoice 71140, and let's go ahead and just search that data. You can see the product pulls back all the items that are on that invoice for printing. I've pre-selected an invoice label that I've designed. We've pre-configured label connector to store the bartender files in a particular folder so that all of our label designs will appear here in the drop-down. Label connector is smart enough to save and use the last printer that you were printing to, so you don't have to select that each time. Now if I were to print this would probably create too many labels for our purposes, for demo purposes, so I'm just going to uncheck a few of these items here, and we'll go ahead and we'll just check these three items here. Now what these plus and minus buttons do here is we can intelligently, by default we print 10 labels, and we can also send a value to the label of quantity 1 by default. Now what we've done is we have divisible or multiples here. Anything that's divisible into 10, we can shift the amount of the quantity on the label to be 2, and we'll print 5 labels, and then the opposite would be to print quantity on the label to be 10 and only print 1 label. By default, the way the system comes up is to print 10 labels and have the quantity on the label be 10. So let's go ahead and print these to our PDF printer that we're using for demo purposes here. And there's going to be 3 batches for 10, 5, and 5. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. So what it's doing is pulling up the 3 batches of labels here. We've got 10 labels of the first item, the MSD 200, and 5 labels of each of the 2 other items. Of course, you can print this to a label printer. We're using a sort of a sheet layout here with a laser printer type of a driver just for demo purposes. So you can see we printed the proper quantities of labels. Anyway, that's again AccuWare's QuickBooks Label Connector for invoice printing, sourcing data out of invoices in multi-mode. Thank you.